Start properly in less than.
Seems like that's very much so under. Yeah, everybody's talking. And we're to follow Kevin. Some of mine. Yeah. And then I'm going to have to do it yourself and just over there. Yeah, nobody goes to fight. We're going to turn it to next. So I'm talking about the China. So. That's good. And so. You want to take credit for correctly. It's the Albert that you like, so I got right. Yeah. So.
All right, everybody. Good afternoon. Good early evening. All right, so we're going to start our town hall. It's not a board meeting at this point. We will have a executive session board meeting after that. So for the agenda, and I'll just say a couple of words. I'll turn it over to the team from Legum. Is the agenda as posted is about 20 minutes for Legum and Norman to present. I'll be driving their presentation and presenting on the screen, as well as hopefully, knock on wood, broadcasting on Zoom successfully. You never know, right? I try to forget words. So they're going to do about 20 minutes of presentation. It'll be 20 minutes of Q&A, open forum afterwards. And then after that, we'll take a short break. And then the board will convene in executive session to ask any questions arising from, etc. Kind of how we got here, some people have asked how we got here. We did, open this procurement a couple months ago, and within the last 2 weeks, we did what's normally called a down select, I guess, in procurement terms, which is to determine those firms which were, in our view, based on the knowledge of the community, comparable communities, etc., as well as other factors, price and whatever. We wanted to invite back. So what you're seeing this week is a result of a down selection, and so that is where we are at here. In addition to board's consideration, we will also have, for you all that are attending tonight in person and virtually, we're going to have a survey link each night. I've got them all queued up, ready to go. So it'll be a brief survey, a Microsoft Form survey that will just ask you to say like strongly agree, strongly disagree on just a handful of domains that are pertinent to this thing. But I designed it intentionally to be easy to do and relatively brief. So just a few key domains with like a 1 through 5 scale, etc. So we'll do that each night, and then that'll give us additional data points there. So I just wanted to tell you that there were more firms that submitted than are going to be presenting to us, but this is the result of a kind of a holistic look at the proposals that were received and those we thought were the most relevant for your time. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to let our folks from Legum and Norman. We have President Bryant Phillips, and Executive Vice President Wanda Powell. I'll let them take it from here. And I'm going to go drive the bus over here. So without further ado, about 20 minutes, as you just said, and the floor is yours.
All right.
Share screens, and then you're ready to roll.
I don't know that I've ever been able to keep my comments to 20 minutes, so I'll certainly do my best to honor the agenda. Thank you all for making time to participate in today's town hall, and Thomas for that great introduction and outline of the process. I think it's great to be candid with the community about process that the board has endeavored on and the goals that they're set out to achieve in service to the broader vision of the Hallmark community. So again, my name is Bryant Phillips. I'm president of Legum and Norman. I joined Legum and Norman in about the fourth quarter or so of last year. And I'll tell you, I've been with Associate, Legum and Norman's parent company, for the past 10 years, operating in the greater DC marketplace. And I couldn't be more thrilled to be a part of this team and to help lead through some of the changes in our organization, some of which we'll talk about tonight. But as part of that excitement, we're here today to celebrate 42 years of partnership. And actually, August serves as the anniversary of our original engagement 42 years ago with the Hallmark community. And we just couldn't be more proud as an organization to see that kind of tenure, despite the bumps on the road, the challenges along the path, and the changes to the community association management industry. It has changed significantly in 42 years. I would say even heightened and accelerated in the past 6 years in the post-pandemic world. We live in a different world. The needs of communities are changing rapidly, arguably faster than any time in recent history when it comes to community association management. So today we're excited to talk about growth through change in our organization and through intentional engagement with our communities, and specifically as that relates to the Hallmark community. So again, thank you all for making time available for us to talk this evening. And Wanda, did you have anything you wanted to say before we moved into our presentation? We want to try and make this feel as engaging and interactive and conversational as possible. So we do have some slides we're going to go through, but it's more high level, really more talking points about the history of our relationship and what we see, where our visions align for the future. But Wanda, please take a moment.
Thank you, Bryant. I am Wanda Powell, Executive Vice President for Legum Norman. I joined Legum Norman in November of it's been almost 15 years now. So I'm proud to say that. You asked me why, because I can't think of a better place to be than working with Legum and Norman. I started managing a luxury high-rise in Chevy Chase on the Maryland side. So I got my experience in window and door replacement, facade replacement, roof replacement, and so many other things. And I did that for about 3 or 4 years. And then I became Director of Business Development for Legum and Norman, serving with the corporate team. And I've met many boards throughout my tenure and heard a lot of stories, but helped continue to grow the business for Legum and Norman. And I'm really proud of that. And then in January, I was promoted to Executive Vice President to be the number 2 to Brian, but we work as a team with our other team members. But I am so excited to sit here before you. Thank you to the board for giving us this opportunity to talk about where we've been, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. So I look forward to the rest of the meeting.
Thank you. So a little kind of tag here, building on our success, focused on our future. Today, we really want to be intentional about the second part of that sentence, focusing on the future and letting sort of some of our journey to this point inform how we can be better, more strategic partners for the board and the broader community. And we have some things that we want to really highlight and talk about, not just by way of achievement, because we're certainly not here to pull a muscle, giving ourselves a pat on the back, but really more focused on where we have experienced challenge, what the vision is to approach any challenge through a partner viewpoint. So Thomas, if you want to please move the slides forward. So partnership at a glance, obviously, you know who you are. 220 unit condo, 16 stories, about a $2 million annual operating budget. As I mentioned before, we've been as part of the community since August of 1984. And as Wanda mentioned, we couldn't be more proud of that relationship, but we also look forward with confidence, and we can move forward a little bit here. Some of the things that we wanted to look backwards on are not 42 years in the rearview mirror, but more specifically by way of what we feel are successes and accomplishments, but also as we go along, frustrations and challenges. But here we just wanted to kind of focus on a couple of high level things that we are proud to have been a part of and see through successfully as part of our Hallmark partnership in really what we consider this current budget cycle. So in the past 5 or so years, we've successfully worked with the board to implement a no smoking policy. We've worked on some large scale projects for a community this age. The path forward, it gets harder, not easier. And I think we've demonstrated achievement with fire system pump replacements at 24-25, elevator cab upgrades in 2018, so a little bit further back, but certainly having gone through similar projects personally, we know the disruption to the community, the challenges, what goes into making those projects success, and some of the challenges that you're going to experience along the way. And we're proud to have been able to see those through across the finish line in a partner view. Also doing the garage membrane replacement. We were just talking, Ken was talking about favorite thing about living here, the social scene. He's the guy talking about the thing you get most dislike or frustrating, parking. Anybody can relate to that? You don't have to show your hands, straw poll, right? So we certainly understand the challenge along with that, but obviously maintaining your garage facilities goes hand in hand with improving that part of your operation. More recently, working through your window and door project replacement and hot water issue resolved. So I was a little hesitant to put resolved on this slide in fear that maybe there would be hands that shoot up and say, it still takes me 10 minutes to get hot water. And maybe it's not resolved 100%, but I think certainly from what we've learned, the history and the challenge in that one, from where we came to where we are, certainly an improvement, and continue to be a focal point. So we're proud of these things just in our current contract cycle as being focal points. We can move ahead. Similarly, just kind of snapshot financial stewardship. These might be about maybe 30 days outdated, but these are broad strokes. About $4 million in cash and investments, 2.4 million in reserve funding, meaning your reserves are fully backed by cash, and a 2.43% delinquency rate or thereabout. The reason why I think this is important to talk about in the broader community landscape is because these are statistics that are what we consider to be very high levels of achievement in the community association space. Your community is a healthy financial operation and continuing to be a focal point to be good stewards of your community far into the future, focusing on capital or enhancement projects so that your building and plant facilities come into the age and are availing themselves of the preventative maintenance and technical resources to be state of the art, given the age of the community, but also in the viewpoint that reserve funding is becoming a more and more complex and impactful conversation in the industry. So to be able to sit here today as your current management partner to view onto the future, to say your reserves are backed by cash, that you're meeting your financial obligations for regular ongoing preventative maintenance and building operations, and that your delinquency rate is almost half what the generally accepted accounting process guidelines would be for the community association, should all help you sleep better at night knowing you're on financial strong footing and well prepared for success in the future. I think that is a testament to our partnership, and you'll hear me use that word a lot, is that it is truly a partnership. There's nothing that we'll be talking about today where we say, oh, L&N did that, and without us, you'd be totally fine. It's through board engagement and having a collaborative partner view, and through disagreement where disagreement is necessary. I'm a big, and Juan has heard it before, best idea wins. And I'll be the last one to tell you that I'm the one with the best idea. But what we believe we really pride ourselves on and strive to get to the best idea, the most efficient way possible, by leveraging the expertise of those volunteer board members. So Thomas, Ginger, Barbara, others who are either currently or former board members, this is something to be proud of and something that we look forward to building upon. Thomas, if you could. Now, any great partnership, it's not all, roses and rainbows. There's certainly challenges. And I was intentional about making this something that we wanted to talk about tonight because we have to look in the mirror before we look out the window. I look at partnership as there's no knight on horseback coming to save us from our challenges. And what I say when I say look in the mirror is that it starts here, looking in the mirror of our partnership, looking in the mirror of our operation to really truly understand not just what the challenges are because we are told what they are as they might manifest in a community through feedback, but also really understand what's the cause of the challenge. That first one, I know I think the first to meet with the group. If this isn't the first bullet on every management company's slide that you're looking at, there's some questions to be asked. As I talked about a moment ago, the landscape in the community association management industry has changed significantly in the post-pandemic world. The challenges of keeping up with technology, the challenges with keeping up with the demands inside the community and the service level expectations have continued to accelerate drastically in the more work from home environment. And our industry has seriously experienced challenge in keeping up to meet those demands. So I'll be the first one to tell you, manager turnover is a real point of emphasis in our organization, but in the industry at large. What we're doing inside Legum and Norman to address manager turnover, it starts with this. We're part of Associa. This is something I carry with me from time to time. It's gotten kind of beat up. But our pillars. So Associate's pillars are employee morale, client retention, client growth, and profitability. There are 4 pillars, P1 through 4, but the first one starts with employee morale. We set out to create a culture of continuous improvement and professional development and create an environment where our managers are given the opportunity to contribute in a meaningful way, to do their best work, to be held accountable to a high standard, and to be challenged to meet the demands, not just of our industry and of our clients, but that we set for ourselves, reaching our full potential. And it's not for everyone. And as I said, I've been here for just under a year in my role, and it's an every single day intentional effort to create that culture and morale. And I'll be the first one to tell you, it is not for everyone. We've had to say goodbye to some managers under my and Wanda's tenure because they don't meet that rigor. They don't meet that level of high achievement, high accountability, and they don't necessarily set that bar for themselves. There's a graphic I show at some of our managers meetings called, has anybody heard of the employee hierarchy of needs? I'm seeing Ginger shaking her head, some other ones. Long story short, it's a pyramid, right? What brings somebody to your company? And that the foundation of the pyramid is a paycheck. And I think probably over the last 18 to 24 months, Legum and Norman employed too many people who didn't exceed the foundation of employment. We were only meeting one of their needs. The other needs are professional development, uniqueness, resources, and ultimately fulfillment. In the last 9 months, we've worked tirelessly to create that culture where you come for the paycheck, but you stay for fulfillment. And it's things like participation in Great Give Back, Associate Cares, serving the broader community, not just managing communities. So that's all stuff for a little bit different conversation. But suffice it to say, we're certainly aware of the challenges of manager turnover, and we are very strategic about attracting, developing, and retaining the very best talent. And I'm thrilled today to tell you our vision for your current employee resources that serve your community on a day-to-day basis through Princhia here in the community, and Olga in our community association manager role. We couldn't be more thrilled. They are newer, but we have nothing but high hopes, and we feel very strongly that they look down from the top of the pyramid, not up from the bottom. And so we see it every single day, whether it's Princhia responding to an after hours at 1 o'clock in the morning, coming out to the community to see what's going on with an alarm, all of those participation in the meetings and helping improve some of our deliverable work products. We're thrilled to have them on our team and just very excited about what the future holds for them with our company. Is there anything you wanted to add to that one? That trying to keep it on 20 minutes. Okay. Financial literacy and special assessment setup are 2 other areas that I think put a little bit of a finer point on where we see challenges. Financial literacy, this is a 2-way street. We believe that we are currently implementing processes to improve timeliness of financial delivery, but also accuracy in creating a work product that helps better describe the financial position in lay terms, non-accounting speak. We're not there fully, but we're every single month making progress. Olga's providing a manager report that really overviews the financial position in a combination of accounting speak, but really relating it in what we consider lay. If I'm just a resident board member, are our reserves backed by cash? Is our delinquency rate where it needs to be? Where we have variances, what's the driver? So simplifying something that maybe on its face might be complex. And the last one is special assessment setup and delinquency protocol. Looking backwards, we certainly realize where, as your consultant, there was probably more work we could have done to better prepare for the implementation of a special assessment. And truthfully, this is where disagreement goes a long way, and how, when we disagree, the rubber hits or we intersect with the best outcome. This is an example where I believe there was disagreement between our team and what was implemented, and we probably didn't push hard enough to set the expectation of what a successful special assessment implementation looks like. And we've certainly learned the hard way, but that's a lesson that we won't be repeating. We'll pick up a little bit of steam here. With that in mind, so we talked about the challenges. Starting in 2026, we've adapted what we call a core 5 deliverable service model. So we believe through board and resident feedback that everything that we do in service to a community falls under really 5 core headlines: financial management, delinquency management, board communication, community inspections, and resident responsiveness. For each one of these core 5 deliverables, our managers have a standard work product and cadence to deliver to the board, and we track that through a dashboard. So it's no longer interpretive to, well, I thought this or I thought that. It's pretty black and white. Did we deliver a financial statement on time or did we not? Did we communicate weekly with the board activity related to service of the community on a weekly basis or not, monthly basis or not? Community inspections, in some communities you're out inspecting lots. In this community, it's more about vendor engagement, people who are providing preventative maintenance, oversight, accountability, and reporting. And then finally, resident responsiveness. All of this is great, but at the end of the day, what is our responsiveness to the community? And not just did somebody answer the phone when they call. This is an area where we believe in our next cycle, the enhanced adoption of our town square platform certainly creates more opportunity. And we look forward to doing, while we're using it now, maybe not to its full capacity, we look forward in the next cycle to doing a full-blown resident town hall, to avail yourself of the resources to do hands-on overview training so that you're getting the most out of that, and that you can evaluate our performance in I use this loosely and I don't mean it in a critical way, so please don't take it the wrong way, in a non-emotional way. My request was acknowledged or it wasn't. It was closed. It was tracked. I got feedback, right? The town square and dry environment, that dashboard provides us that opportunity. And while it wasn't on the challenge slide, that's an area for growth that we see in the next phase of our engagement. I think I can wrap it up in 5. I want to be mindful of it. So if you want to progress the slides. So with all that being said, what we believe here is the importance of continuity. We've been a partner for 42 years, and we certainly wouldn't expect that 42 years didn't involve bumps in the road, global pandemics and all. But what we think we bring, not just in the things that we talked about, technology integration, process improvement, accountability measures, dashboards, and tracking, but there's things, those are all forward facing into the future. But if you look in the rearview mirror, there really truly is a value to that history, current project knowledge, vendor relationships, institutional memory, and project continuity. All of those things are really lost on day one of starting over. And I'm a big believer, one of our biggest challenges is manager turnover. I don't believe managers turnover is solved by management turnover. It's resetting the clock back to 0 on a whim and a hope and an expectation that somebody will come in, right, looking out the window instead of the mirror and say, we're just going to be up to speed and here's all these things and this all going to be plug and play. I can tell you from experience, it's not. And while this is a conversation about renewing our engagement, I go and I have the same exact viewpoint on new client engagement. It ain't easy to make a change. And I say that to prospective new clients. It's going to be a bumpy road. But here, I think that with what we already have in place and in the work that we've already been doing in the collaboration with our board, we have a very bright horizon and a strong view into the vision of the community. We can move ahead there, Thomas. Our 3-year vision really focused on capital projects, reserve strategy, resident engagement, timely financials, and operational efficiency. Not quite the core 5, but falling within each of those headings. So capital projects, how are we bringing Hallmark into the future based off the age of the building? Maintaining and becoming, where necessary, state of the art, while also being mindful about your reserve funding, creating operational efficiencies and economical efficiencies. For example, it's our view that in our renewed engagement, we would be bringing in energy partners that can do full-blown energy audit, reducing your energy costs potentially through economy of scale and broker negotiation. They will have a bottom line impact, improve your energy efficiency, and reduce the economic cost on the association of having older mechanical equipment or other things that might be a drain on your energy resources that might have a bottom line impact to your assessments. We can move ahead. Oh, sorry, I couldn't see the top of this one. So, why we feel that the path forward is promising. Obviously, as I mentioned, 42 years of partnership, our dedicated team, our executive support, and that's another area where we are redefining executive escalation pathways and executive oversight of our Hallmark relationship to provide easier, more transparent access to executive support on areas that might go beyond the scope of capabilities of either the onsite or the community manager themselves. Also, bringing CAI industry resources to the community through sponsored membership. And then that kind of speaks to continuous improvement. And then finally, I'll just, put it bluntly, Legum Norman has created price stability in our management fee for 17 years. We've not raised the Hallmark management fee for 17 years. In our renewed engagement proposal, we also intend to provide $10,000 of Amtech project management support. This is an aging infrastructure community, and I'm sure every dollar of additional resource and project management, specifically in maintenance and reserve projects, serves to improve the operation. And that's a commitment. Currently, you're supported by Amtech with certain limited on-site maintenance needs. But in our renewed contract cycle, we intend to earmark $10,000 of additional project management support through our Amtech operation. This is larger project planning, helping with scoping of larger reserve or capital projects and additional project management so that you can continue to get the high achievement from Princia here on site without her attention being divided to help manage some other larger projects as we endeavor them. And then finally, we would be awarding a $5,000 loyalty credit. That's either a straight credit or to a charity of your choice. Because as I said before, to me, it's about fulfillment. We do a lot of community outreach. Many communities that we serve have charitable missions within them or that resonate with a volunteer subbase. So whether this is through just a management fee credit or a donation to a cause of the community's choice, we are committed to supporting the causes that are important to you, and we wanted to reflect that in our renewed engagement. So I think we did it I think we started a couple of minutes late, so we're about 23 minutes. And I know Wanda just went on and on and on, so I'll pause and let her, if there's anything I didn't miss.
I think you did cover everything, but I just want to add that, again, thanking the board for the opportunity, but this is not just about renewing a contract. Our goal is to continue earning your trust. And 42 years of history, there are numerous management companies out there that can manage, but what else can they do for you? And I feel that Hallmark may not be privy to everything that we have to offer. As I've stepped into this role and learning more about the community and speaking to Tom a couple of times via phone, there are several things that Legum Norman has to offer that you have not been aware of. And we want to show you that as you continue to As times change, I mean, as Brian said, when I first was looking through the contract schedule, I said 42 years, wow. As you know, Legum and Norman was created in 1945 and started managing their first condo around 1969. Well, it was 1969. And that speaks volume because we are not just a startup company. We're not a publicly traded company. We are a private owned company. Yes, we were acquired and became a member company of Associate in 2008. But that speaks volume about the stability that we have. And to have a contract in place where we have not increased your management fee over 17 years, I have never seen anything like it before. But that speaks volume to me because it's evident that Legum Norman values you as a partner. You're part of our family and that means something. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, well said.
Like I'm gonna add cost down.
I beg your pardon.
Excuse me, sorry. First of all, great job. Happy to hear that our financials are good, great. All those things are nice to work. But in comparison to the other buildings in this area, we're a little outdated.
I'm sorry,
We're a little outdated.
outdated. Okay,
So
thank you.
we're outdated. If you look at the door security, surveillance, driving the cars in, the parking lot, all of those things come out of press. I just sent the email this Friday night between 11 and 11:15, someone trying to get in front. He kept pushing buttons to get in. Now, that call box had a camera on it,
Mhm.
we could access.
Yeah.
We'd be fine if you all your door.
Right.
Now, just because it was my kid that was coming in the door, she knew not to engage and go to the back. But even if she went to the back, there is nothing in the back to safeguard her either. In terms of cameras or perspective, she figured if she went back and she yelled, that wouldn't be good enough. So I appreciate the fact that we are a steward of the finances, but not raising our fees for 17 years had to come at a cost.
So great. And what was your name?
Robert Allen.
Robert, thank you for that. That's a great point. I want to make sure I'm differentiating the two. So Legum and Norman has kept our management fee stable over that 17-year period of time. There are costs outside of the base management fee, which fluctuate based off of usage. But when we talk about that stability, we believe that our company providing our service at a stable rate has allowed the association to have a certain level of transparency and ability to budget for the operational expenses in I'd say arguably more aggressive way than might be traditional when you have year-over-year management fee increases. What you're talking about, as I understand the question, Robert, is what are we doing with that money? That's a board conversation. How those funds are earmarked or utilized for building projects, upkeep, maintenance, bringing the community into the times, as you said. I agree with that. And I think that's so much what we're talking about here is looking forward, not backwards. What are we doing as a partnership to look at those kinds of projects? It shouldn't just be maintaining the status quo. And want to mention, there may have been times, probably in the more recent past, where there's resources that maybe we haven't brought to the forefront that you can believe, like call boxes, upgrading your call box and access control. We have relationships with a product called Butterfly MX, which is exactly what you're talking about. It's tag readers, it's automation, it's access through cell phone, through application, all of those kinds of things. But at the end of the day, that's where the partnership comes to bear. Those are ultimately board decisions, not to put the things at the board. That's not the intent here, but how we come as a partnership to decide the projects that are going to get attention. I think that's where this community provides input and management helps guide the board, and the board makes a decision on where is that money best utilized. So I think you gave a great example. I think that's a great place for us to start.
As we move forward, there's been a request for me to repeat the question.
Great.
So just give me a moment after a question is asked.
Sure.
I'll repeat it so that the folks on Zoom can hear clearly. Alex, then Barbara.
Yeah, I'm Gunderman's owner of 313, and I'm trying to show off. I have a PhD in president economics. So Valerie is on the board, and I have talked about the fact that I think it's 240, not 220 units, first of all. This is like a small town.
Sure.
Okay, like you drive into America, population 600. So we have 240 units, and the person who's going to be managing this has to deal with snow, with mowing the grass, with people in cleaning crews that clean this building, with the people who move in and out, permits for renovations, people do renovations, issues with the garage, communications with owners and residents, communication with fire department coming here to do inspections, tests for the elevators, fobs, which might come down the line, doing the financials, parking issues, sprinklers, landscaping, programming board meetings. I could go on. There are more issues. So basically, where is your team? Being here for 42 years does not mean I would not be very proud. And if you don't like me, that's your problem. I would not be very proud when we have a generator that doesn't work. And when the power goes out, people, and it's not affecting me. I live on the second floor and I'm in very good shape. But poor people here who are old, when the power goes out, the generator's not working, they can't go up to their units. We also have an HVAC on the roof that doesn't have a compressor. And people are suffering because the air conditioning is not working. Again, it's not happening to me. I live on the third floor. The HVAC in the common area, the third floor is fine. My HVAC is fine. Okay. And Miss Williams, thankfully that we have Miss Williams. Okay. Miss Williams has been extraordinary because she's an exemplary multitasker. But if it weren't for Tom coming out, if it weren't for Ginger, if it weren't for people on board, and I help them as much as I can, okay, things would be much worse. We also have the mice issue. So I really would have, asked for some more humility. I certainly would not renew your contract. Partnership, we pay for these services. Who's going to come out here on Saturday, the next time there's no power? Tom came out, Princia came out. We also tell you something you might already know. Virginia law allows an HOA to hire somebody direct. And I was spoken to Princia yesterday. And she was hired directly by an HOA in a previous job. And I think she's extraordinary. But any person who's here is going to have a right to take time off, is going to be sick once in a while,
Sure.
is going to have family issues. Who is the team that's going to make this work with all of these things that I've just named and more?
Great question.
So just to summarize, the question is about the myriad of tasks that have to be supported by
Sure.
the
Where are the people?
and more, and what is the support system behind that?
Where's the team? Where are the people?
Okay. So as Brian mentioned earlier, Olga, if you all have had the pleasure to meet her, is the community manager. And within any organization, not just within Legum Norman, there's the on-site management team. And yes, it is Princia, and she is a rock star, but the team is Olga, is her community manager, who you see at your board meetings. And Olga reports to Darcy Niles, who is the VP that leads this team. That's the forward-facing team that we have in place. Now, in our office in Falls Church, there are other team members that are supporting owners as they need it, if they call in or if they come to our office as well, our accounting team, our resale team, our customer care department answering calls as well. So there is a team. And of course, yes, she wears a lot.
But hang on for
Yes.
just a second.
So
Let's pause, because I think you made great points. I've personally managed an on-site community.
Are you gonna come out on Saturday?
Let's finish your thought. I don't want to interrupt you.
Are you gonna come out on Saturdays and Sundays?
If there's a need for me to be here on Saturday and Sunday, I'm more than happy to roll up my
I
sleeves.
speak for many owners, by the way, when I ask a question I have.
Okay. I'll first just want to take a step back, because I think, Alex, so much of the things that you just commented on, those are the things that I mentioned earlier.
I put that on a list. I didn't come down here to waste your time. A list of 16, 17, 18 things the general manager has to deal with.
Yeah, you did.
One person deals with all
Yeah,
that.
I think you've done a very good job of succinctly identifying how a condominium community association operates. Those are the responsibilities of operating a community association. I can tell by the way that you articulated it, there's some frustration that's been experienced here on any one or all of those things. But as I said before, this is an industry where so much of what you just described, the expectation and the intensity has gone up. I feel it. We all feel it. We do have a structure that's designed to serve well, with the understanding that I'm not going to back off on my position that this is a partnership. And I'm proud of the partnership, not ashamed of it. We wouldn't be here for 42 years if we didn't experience challenge. We're in a challenge moment. But I believe very strongly that you have capable, competent, experienced, and well-intentioned volunteers on your board of directors and staff that's been dedicated to serve your community well. And I've seen a lot of shaking heads in the affirmative that today there's a general positive sentiment that that's happening. As an organization, we do have a lot of support mechanisms that I think we've provided over the course of our partnership. But I will tell you right now, I wouldn't be sitting here if in the last 18 months you were giving it an optimal delivery model. I talked about the utility procurement energy audit cost reduction program. If that is the first time you're hearing of it, we've not, yeah, we missed the mark there. In-house maintenance, construction, and project management. You're availing yourselves of part of that program through Amtech, but I think just by way of some of the projects you described, there's more opportunity. And we've reflected that financially in our renewed offering. So I'm not here, it's not perfect. If it was, this would probably just be a send me the contract, we'll sign it and keep moving. But I'm not going to be discouraged by negative feedback. It's going to fuel our ability to serve well. That's what's most important to me. And I'm a big show, don't tell. So it doesn't
That's
matter.
reality, sir.
Okay.
And you have to apologize for anything. Well, humility would serve you well too.
Let's
Well, I apologize if that's been the perspective that I'm not.
It's fair. Yeah, go on.
Let's,
Well, I
let's-
apologize. That wasn't my intent, Alex. I apologize.
let's spread the wealth. I think I previously said Barbara, and then the lady over there, your Janet's first. All right, so Barbara, then Janice, 1, 2.
Thanks. First, I'd like to say, thank you for being here. I think it's a visit that has been precipitated by the bumps in the road that you referenced, which have been consequential. And it's involved, I think, to the extent of gross fiscal mismanagement, serious opportunity costs in terms of potential investment monies that I don't know if we've ever gotten reimbursed for. Okay, I was actually treasurer prior to Ginger for 12 years. So I come with a fair amount of board experience, a fair amount of Legum and Norman and associate experience as well. And additionally, I've been a realtor in Northern Virginia for 22 years. I've had over 100 for sale transactions just here in Hallmark. But I'm also out looking at a number of different communities and associations throughout Northern Virginia, specifically Arlington and Alexandria. So I see a lot. And there have been, I think, some real benefits to having that continuity with Legum and Norman. And with everything that I've had in terms of my personal experience, board experience, professional experience, I'm frankly very concerned about moving to another management company. But what really upsets me the most, I think, is that with all of the fiscal mismanagement that we've had, and by the way, to be very clear, during my tenure on the board, the 12 years prior, we averaged for that a 0.25% delinquency rate, 0.25. So to me, 2.5% is not looking that great. But part of that has been really tough for our board to stay on top of it because of the really shoddy financial management reporting. So you're here now, but you're here now because this is kind of the nuclear option, and it's unfortunate that it's gotten to that point for so many reasons, not to mention, just the amount of knowledge that you already have about our association being lost. So I want to hear specifically why it's taken this long for you to be here. Now, I am very acutely aware of what the division is between board responsibilities and property management company responsibilities. Everything I'm talking about now, specifically on Legum and Norman, and it should never, ever have escalated to the point that it did. I'm glad you're here now, but where the hell have you been for the last 6 or 9 months, or year longer?
Sure.
And I can remember even when I was on the board, having the same types of issues regarding timely financials. You know, I mean, this is your bailiwick. This is
Sure.
what you guys have signed up to do. And we are clearly not your only client here. Are other organizations or other associations, do they not have these same expectations? Or somehow, and this is what I've always kind of suspected, I've almost felt that because Hallmark has never really been a squeaky wheel, that we've been sidelined to a certain extent. And now we're being a squeaky wheel, and it's resulted in you being here. But I think that a number of the accounting issues could have been resolved almost instantaneously if you employed some of that institutional knowledge that you're touting about our 42-year relationship, and you guys had been sitting here with folks from your accounting department, along with our property manager, along with our community manager. You know, I guess what I'm saying, guys, is it never should have escalated to this point. Never.
Great, what's up, Bobby? Thank you. Thanks for that. Sorry, I wasn't, if there was gonna be I didn't want to jump
No,
on
no,
your,
I-
step on your
No,
toes.
I'm actually summarizing the question.
Oh,
in
okay,
chat now,
great.
So I do not need to verbally,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, so let me just, so I don't run afoul, first apologize. I do sincerely apologize that that's the perspective that we've, or the picture that we've painted. It's certainly not intentional. You're right. Yes, this is our bailiwick. It's what we are designed to do, and we do bring a level of expertise to it. And I think that expertise has been demonstrated over a wide passage of time. And I think so much of what you just described, certainly don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but it's been my understanding that so much of the compounding of financial issues has happened over the course of about the last 12 to 18 months. That's where you've seen the most significant concern. Would that be a fair? Okay, Ginger and Barbara, I know you have history beyond that.
I mean, it's the worst. I mean, the worst, the last 18 months. have
Okay.
Just not been good at all.
Yeah. So during that period of time, first, you know,
Third community manager.
so I will say,
Manager,
I
none
think-
of them had training
yeah, so I think that is a
and
compounding.
led, in my opinion, to a lot of these issues.
I agree, and I'm glad that you said that, but I don't think that's not where this lives and dies. I think that Barbara's right. Our organization, I'm trying to think of a way to put this delicately that doesn't point fingers everywhere, because it's our responsibility to fix it. But I can tell you, this was broken somewhere else. God bless you. Juan and I came to our positions with an understanding of the challenges ahead of us, particularly with financial management oversight. You aren't the only community who's experienced these challenges. The biggest single challenge that I walked into late last year was total and complete incompetence in our investment operation. We've watched people go that didn't identify with our culture that we're trying to set, and we own that. And it's contributed to turnover. That's had a service impact on our clients. But we're not going to stand back and accept a view that less than is acceptable. We are here to make it better. We're committed to the road to make it better. We've lost clients as a result of it, and it's not detracted us from our bigger picture. We've let that person and people go. We've reorganized that department. We've brought in external resources to better serve our clients at our cost, not to the association. And we've set up an accountability dashboard and system that allows us the ability to track where the financial delivery process is happening in each of our departments So much so that I can look at it on any day of the month and say it's at this point in the process with this person. And if we get to a point where the day on the calendar turns red and doesn't turn green, then it's a conversation with that person in the process. That's what accountability looks like at the new Legum. There's no excuse for us not getting to you sooner than today, other than to tell you all the things that I just described has been what we've been doing to try and rebuild our organization from the inside out to make these conversations a little bit more palatable instead of just coming with an apology and we'll do better next time. It's to come with an actual measured, strategic, intentional approach to improvement. It's not for me to convince you whether that's right or wrong. It's to tell you that's what's happening and to take responsibility for it. And to apologize, Alex and others, for the experience that you've had to date or with the previous iterations of our company. But as far as I'm concerned, you've made a management company change, but it's up to us to be able to demonstrate that beyond just what you experience day to day with Princia or on the weekly, biweekly, monthly engagements with Olga. And as I understand it, probably the less frequent engagements that you've had with our executive vice president overseeing your account, which we are in the process of reassigning so you can see another layer of proactive support, not just waiting for the phone to ring, because in all fairness, it doesn't seem like that's been the motivation, but that doesn't mean that you are entitled to lesser service. So I do sincerely apologize. You're right, it's taken too long. But for every day that we haven't been here telling you what we're going to do, we've been doing it in our back office. And I can tell you from January until today, I look at it every day. I looked at yours, especially earnestly today. In January, we were 38 days late on your financial statement. In February, we were 4 days early. In March, we were 7 days early. In April, I think we were 13 days early. In May, I think we got it right on the deadline. And in June, we were 16 days late because we held it open intentionally for for reconciliations. So I'm not here to just tell you a bunch of hollow promises. I'm telling you what our organization is doing every single day to improve. But there's probably work that we needed to be doing to get in front of you more frequently to have that conversation. It shouldn't have taken the point of you going out to compete our contract to hear that. And for that, I'm sorry. And everybody, Alex and the gentleman with the cough in the back.
Janice, you're up next.
My issues are small compared to late financials, glad that we early, that seems like a nightmare issue for me. Is it reasonable to expect that one person, one general manager here on site, can handle as much as she does handle, and she handles it well, that one person on site as a GM can handle all the day-to-day issues that come up in a building of our age? And I've been in here since 1976, owner since 1980. This is a lot for a person to have. And should she achieve in the system? I know that you talked about private mayor. You have systems along with, I guess, how we staff.
Mhm.
To me, a team is not one or two people.
Sure.
I think she needs help with her
Yeah.
handling issues. But I think there is some kind of a system. I shouldn't just be trying to figure out how am I going to get an email, Tom and Chia, to let them know I've gone down, I've talked to somebody, I've said, well, now hot water, that it takes 30 days for somebody to get back to me to recognize.
Sure.
It can't just be me, because I'm on the
Yeah.
11. So they gotta be 10 people too, that are having exactly the same issue. It shouldn't take 30 days just for recognition that I've got an issue. There needs to be some kind of a system
Right.
that we as owners can go into and say, here's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Cars up on blocks, here's the pictures, people hanging laundry outside, on the balcony, smoking on the balcony, walking dogs in the front yard. can't own the place, because I don't think you do that at your house. You bring refrigerators in through the front door at 10:30 at night. There has to be a way
So,
that we can report these issues and get some kind of a response. And I think that the young lady in the office needs some help to deal with everything that goes on in this building.
thank you. And just I'll repeat, very thoughtful question. I don't think it's small potatoes by comparison to anything that we're talking about, but the question was, is there enough on-site support, presence, resources in the community? And there should be a mechanism by which communicating issues can be done more efficiently. Is that a fair summary? So I'm going to answer both of those questions as succinctly as possible. The answer to question number one is no. A single point of success or failure in a community of this age and size is not adequate. It's my belief that you could easily be served by a couple of more dedicated on-site staff resources, but that speaks to process, defining processes, defining for the community the how and who does what, articulating those processes appropriately. And whether it's a single person here or a single person here as a representative and a full staff behind them, which is essentially what our current model looks like, it's really about transparency in providing a better, more clearly articulated who does what are the processes, and what are the regular reoccurring operational cycle of activities that are happening in the Hallmark community. I think those are all pretty foundational community association management. I believe generally those are in place and happening, but probably not adequately being communicated to the greater resident population. And I think that's something that we can take back with our team and improve and potentially provide additional staff models that we've seen work in other situations. But ultimately, the level of service in the community is not necessarily a mandate by the management company. We don't come in and say, if we're going to manage you, you are required to have 10 people working here. We're trying to do the best that we can with the model that we have, with the understanding that nothing's perfect and we want to scale it to the needs of the community. The second part of the question is, you have access to that technology resource currently today, and there just has not been enough on our team's part. And maybe this speaks to, we shouldn't have a single person being responsible for all things all the time, because when something goes wrong, then everything goes wrong, right? But that's where in a renewed engagement, that's where we would bring additional support, training, education to how to best use the town square platform, because it does everything that you just described.
I don't know what towns.
So none of us know anything about town square
Okay.
until Tom mentioned it at the last board meeting, I think, or Princhia did or something. I didn't know it was actually active. I had heard town square, but I thought it was something that you guys were using just for the assessments on the building.
That's one of many components, and that's where, again, I say resource management, bringing that level of knowledge to the community is, again, I think an area where the last time we were in a renewal process, that platform essentially didn't exist. We've come a long way since then. And again, it's not, I don't think anybody was intentionally keeping these resources from you. I think it's just a matter of, over the passage of time, comfort, regularity, the rinse and repeat of an operation. That's
if we all go forward,
right.
we definitely need to have some kind of education for residents.
To me, that's up there as like top 2-3 priorities, because a lot of things improved with that platform.
I want to call the last question for Hank, because he had raised his hand.
I just want to continue the conversation about the staffing, because historically, I've been in the building for 30-some years as well. And we always have had two people. We had an office manager and we had an engineer, and they worked as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So when they both answered the phones, when the phone rang, if one wasn't available, the other. He did a lot of tests. Our engineer, obviously, his main focus was on engineering, but he also did a lot of other things that were similar to the things that Perchia does today. Um, Things have changed a little. We never used to get the volume of packages that we get now. We almost need a full-time staff person to sort our packages. It's ridiculous. But I think there's been a breakdown. Our engineer that we have right now, I don't have any confidence in at all. Now, I don't know if that's somebody that you all have are involved in bringing to this building, but as far as I can tell, he has no skills in taking care of our engineering issues, and he doesn't cooperate or work effectively with Francia in any way to get the work done that she is able to do. So
He has no people skills with the residents, that's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I thank you for bringing that. I think that speaks back to what I was commenting on before, is I think that goes back to, it seems like there was a point in time where it was clear the relationship and synergy between those roles, or, regardless of maybe you're thinking of two people specifically and your relationship with those people. But I look at it as there does need to be a certain level of synergy, operational understanding, continuity, and documented process. Kind of what I was saying to, I didn't get your name before, but Janice's question, thank you, about the who does what, where, and when. The maintenance and engineering role doesn't necessarily always happen in the view of the residents. I will tell you from my own experience managing a 22-story high-rise condo that when I was the GM of an operation like that, I made it a point to go and get the maintenance person. We had a maintenance person and an engineer, and those are two different, very well-defined responsibilities. So I just want to be clear on that. But I'd say, okay, we're going to walk the building together, you, me, the three of us, and we're going to talk to, Farhad and, the residents of the community and meet with the community. That's important. They're here in your community. They're part of your community. They're providing service to your community. If they're prickly in their demeanor, we got to change that. I came from the hotel industry. Maintenance people were going into rooms, and the first thing that they train them is the customer service. The technical stuff is second. You don't keep. I would argue that if you're having a good, pleasant experience, that you can talk to this person at the human level, all of the other technical things, they kind of fall into place, and we can support that. But Hank, I made a note. We need to look at that relationship, the roles and responsibilities, and create some clarity to the community. Who does what, when? And I mean, it sounds like maybe we need to go back to some more 5-star customer service training, because there's no reason that somebody should be dismissive.
I just want to add also that I had mentioned to Francia, I had asked Francia if she was getting support from our engineer to do some of the things that he's seen. Because when he's not doing engineering tasks, he's sitting in his office and not doing anything. And she told me that she did not have any control over this, that she was not a supervisor of his. She was not supposed to be telling him what to do. I don't know if that's.
Is Amtech a private engineering firm that you guys have a contract with, and they've sent you a person and Sam is that person?
So that is the general arrangement, although Amtech is a division of Legum and Norman. It's maintenance, construction, project management. We do assign those resources to communities, but we can look at augmenting that. We can look at changing the person. We could look at changing the scope of responsibility and work. There's any number of things that we can look at to augment, to make sure that the value and support that is necessary is being provided. So I've made a note here that we'll talk with the team internally about what are they doing? What's the checklist? Are we getting reports to the community? Is there visibility in the community? I wouldn't disagree with you because I don't have any facts to support it. But if somebody tells me if you don't see them doing something, that there's the perspective they're just sitting in their office doing nothing, that doesn't work for me. That's our reputation, and that's not acceptable. So whether true or not, it's going to get our team's attention. And if we need to make a reassignment, just fresh eyes, fresh perspective, turning over a new page, then we're absolutely committed to doing that.
All right, so we are gonna have to call time now because we're a little bit over, but if anyone has additional questions that either came up or, weren't answered, please feel free to email me or the rest of the board, and we'll make sure that any questions can get summarized and sent over to the Legum and Norman team for follow-up. So with that, we're gonna do a couple of things. We're gonna call time on the town hall. Please do feel free, courtesy of Legum and Norman, to avail yourself of nothing but cakes. If you wish on your way out, just maybe save one for your friendly board members. And for the team Legum and Norman, stretch your legs for 5 minutes while we kind of reconfigure, and we'll move into an executive session.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out. All right. It's gonna- No, we would actually like to, if we really, if we have some, it's just question of the panel, like, where we can clear it. Like whether it's debriefing on something came up here, or like, yeah.
That's right. We're connected, or,
Make sure that.